Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're tuning in. I don't know what part of the day you enjoy the Enough Already podcast, but we're glad you're here. I'm Fingers Malloy. She's Tracy L. Connors. I'm going to the casino, Tracy.
How excited are you?
Right after this is over. I have not been in a casino in 6 months.
How much money have you saved?
A couple $100 probably. Because you win some, you lose some. And then you win some, and then you lose some, and then you lose some, and then you kind of lose some again, and then you lose again. But then you drown your sorrows in a Guinness, and then which is not free in the Indiana casinos. No, not in Indiana. And apparently, by the way, not in Atlantic City anymore.
Oh, did they change that? No.
So, Atlantic City was ramping up. The casinos were ramping up to open last week, I believe. And, if you go around the country to different areas where the casinos have been open for a while, say Vegas, for instance, they're now requiring masks because the governor of Nevada has done this whole we should all wear masks in public indoors thing. And so they're doing that there, but like they altered their business plans, like the Wynn. I know you've been to Vegas quite a few times. You don't gamble really though.
Nope.
But you like going to the Cosmo. They've got the beautiful chandelier bar at the Cosmo. We've hung out there several times, and some of the higher end hotel properties, the Wynns of the world, they just opened up their buffet recently, and they had to alter their whole business model on the buffet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to bring this back to why this would be relevant to this show, okay? Because I know right now you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Last week we were with Kurt, and the first thing we talked about was grills for like 5 minutes. Now he's going on a casino rant. But so the Wynn buffet, they hired a bunch of people. Bringing back people is incredibly difficult now because of the whole CARES Act $600 bonus federal supplement that people are getting with their unemployment checks. So it's hard bringing people back because people don't want to come back. You're making more money sitting on your ass than feeding fat people like me at a buffet. So you don't want to do that. So they alter their business model. They also alter how they provide a service. Like at the Wynn buffet, you order food from a waiter, buffet style food, and like 3 minutes your food pops up. So in Atlantic City, they're ramping up. We're going to open. And then all of a sudden the governor, like 2 days before, says, oh, by the way, no eating, no drinking, and no smoking in your casinos.
He canceled your other show.
Right? Exactly. But can you imagine? I mean, you're a business owner. You know what it's like to try to plan for the next quarter, the next year. And this has wreaked havoc on businesses across the country. And now you have a situation where it's like, okay, we can open again, and we're going to buy the food. We're going to buy all the food because people are going to come and they're going to want to gamble and they're going to eat. And oh, by the way, they're going to want to drink too. So we're going to buy all the booze. It's Atlantic City. We got to give people booze for free while they're gambling. Free. I'm using air quotes for you not listening or not watching on YouTube or BitChute. And then like 2 days before, the governor says, all those plans you made, screw you. Where you can't eat, you can't drink, and you can't smoke in the casinos. Listen, you're familiar with Jersey. I know you don't go to Atlantic City much, but there are like, 9-10 casinos in Atlantic City?
At least.
Yeah. So the Borgata, which I believe is still the crown jewel of the Atlantic City casinos, they're just saying, piss on it. We're not reopening. Let us know when we can do all the things in the casino again. But you can't eat? What the hell is this?
It's absurd. The rules don't make any sense. So I just found out maybe half an hour before you and I started recording that my governor has come out and announced that we're going to begin some new mitigation efforts starting on the 16th, even though it's well, I guess it's the 15th. So starting tomorrow, not starting immediately or whatever. You get 12-hour heads up, if that. So get this and tell me how logical it is. So we opened up remember, I was celebrating going green here, and that meant you could eat outdoors at a restaurant. So I don't know if you have this in Indiana where they have these makeshift restaurants now that are set up in like alleyways and sidewalks and, it's card tables like grandma's house.
Tracy, isn't it awful in 2020 that we have to turn to back alley restaurants to get something to eat?
It is.
It's terrible.
It's a scandal. It's a total scandal. And then you could do indoor dining at 50% capacity. So the new rules are restaurants and bars are limited to 25% for indoor seating. This is my favorite. Okay. Tell me how this makes sense. You must order food with alcohol in bars. Sitting at a bar and drinking is not permitted without the purchase of food. I think my governor knows something that your governor doesn't know. If you eat, maybe he should let, Mr. Jersey know too. Eating apparently and drinking keeps the virus away. But you can eat takeout booze. I mean, it's just.
Do you remember the original Batman movie?
Michael Keaton?
Yes, the original Batman movie with Michael Keaton. Yeah, you're right. There may have been a Batman.
Well, I'm thinking the Adam West TV show. Yes. Yeah. R.I.P.
But the original Batman movie, the Joker was poisoning people, but the poison wasn't in one product. It had to be, if you used eyeliner with blush, that would kill you, but the eyeliner alone would not kill you. That's what this is right here. Okay, well, boy, oh boy, drinking without the food, that could give it to you. Drinking with the food, you're safe. What a bunch of horse shit. They're just throwing shit against the wall. And too many people are like, well, okay, they must know what they're doing. We'll just go ahead and go along with it. I mean, there are betters. Screw these people.
I know. I keep thinking more normies are waking up feeling like Will Ferrell in Zoolander and saying, oh my God, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And I actually had a normie say that to me unprompted. Like, this is just too much. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And it's like, yep, you are. Or everybody else is. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and I don't want to downplay or sound like I'm downplaying the seriousness of this, because I'm not. We have someone in our family who's in intensive care right now. And so I don't, and it's because of tested positive for the virus, has other issues, of course, which tends to happen if you end up in ICU it's because you have other conditions that are, it's like a toxic, it goes back to the Joker again.
There you go.
But
the person mixed eyeliner with rouge, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, there you go.
But having said that, if you look at the death rates, even though we're seeing the spike in positive test numbers, even though, and again, now we don't even know if that data is reliable, because we're hearing how they're completely messing with the numbers in Florida. Some labs are. So we can't trust the data. We can't trust our government officials, because they clearly are just spitballing. So really, just like everything else, Tracy, it's every man for themselves. That's what I'm saying. Just every man for themselves. Wear a mask if you want to. I do wear a mask when I'm in stores, just because it makes the clerks feel better. And unfortunately, when I go to the casino after this, I believe the casino mandates that you walk in with you must wear a mask unless you're smoking and drinking, which again, for Christ's sake, doing this and pulling the mask up. And
I'm telling you that according to even my insane health secretary, who came out with new mask rules where I'm supposed to wear one if I go outside,
Mhm.
unless I can safely stay 6 feet away from everybody.
Right.
They have to leave a loophole that says if you have a respiratory condition that would be exacerbated by wearing the mask, you do not have to wear the mask. And nobody is allowed to ask you to produce proof of said respiratory condition. Done. No mask, don't ask.
So it's in a lot of ways, it's like parking in a handicap spot and doing the fake limp on the way in. And if anybody calls out, I'd go, oh,
No, I
fell on a
park in
grenade.
sometimes I park in the expectant mother parking. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
How are you going to
Yeah.
know? I'm expecting
Right.
not to be one. I mean, which expectation are we going after here?
And you're a damn fool if you're a guy thinking it's a good idea to walk up to a woman in that situation. Oh, how far are you along?
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're a damn fool if you're a guy and you don't take advantage of the same thing. Do you
Oh,
think
right.
anybody would have the nerve in 2020 with the guillotine looming behind everyone's head to confront you on that? You're like, hey, who are you, buddy? You don't know. You don't know
Yeah.
my life.
I
Try it, fingers,
identify as
please.
I
Is it an
identify as a
expectant
woman who's
mother?
6 months pregnant. Yeah.
Oh my God, please do that and film it. It would be Karen calling the cops on you. That's
Yeah.
how I see it going.
Yeah. And then somehow I would lose my job. And then I could sue everybody because
Exactly, for discrimination.
they don't understand the struggle, what it's like looking like this, but identifying as a woman who's 6 months pregnant.
This could be the greatest scam pack launch vehicle of all time. Maybe we can break Wokeback Mountain this way, figures.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, the possibilities are endless. Oh, that's good stuff.
Oh man.
No, but I don't know. So yeah, your governor. I don't understand. We've talked about this on several occasions, but I don't get sick and tired of talking about it because I'm once again completely shocked that here we are. The like I said, the numbers continue to go up as far as testing positive. The deaths are spiking a little bit, but not nearly what they were in March and April and early May. And so, but here we are. Here I'm in central Indiana. The mayor of Indianapolis has signed his own order requiring masks in public, which you touched on it a little bit earlier. I love these orders where they say, okay, everyone needs to wear a mask in public starting 10 days from now.
Yeah, weren't you just saying before we started recording Walmart's going to do it and it starts on the 20th?
I believe it's July 20th. I'm not positive.
So here we go.
It would,
if you're drinking alcohol and eating at the same time, you can't get it. And you can feel totally safe in a Walmart until July the 20th, if Fingers is remembering that correctly.
yeah. Oh, and Sam's Club, by the way, because they're owned by the same people. So, but yeah, at this point, people are not going to be able to say mask playoffs. What are you talking about? I don't have a mask. Please give me 10 days notice before I can get my hands on a mask. Walmart. Okay.
We'll sell you one.
That's what the box home improvement retailer Menards is doing. Menards is requiring masks. I don't know if Menards is all over the country. They're quite popular here in Indiana. If you don't have a mask, you need to buy one from them. I did see, I was up in Michigan a couple of weeks ago, and a guy tried to walk in without a mask, and security stopped him. And so he said, "Oh, no, I'm fine." And he pulled his shirt up over his nose, and the security guard goes, No. Don't try to pull a fast one with me. I've seen that before, and escorted him out, and he was upset.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't sell him a mask, or they wasn't in Menards? I'm confused.
This was at Menards, and Menards has masks that you can buy for, I believe, $1. But
okay.
he was taking a stand.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Well, what I find interesting is that we hear very little about what's going on in Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to a very good friend of mine who happens to live there, and I said, what's the deal with the mask there? Has it become this super, politicized kind of thing? No, not at all. I said, are people wearing them? Kind of. And have you seen a single person driving in a car by themselves wearing one? She started laughing. Like, no. I'm like, yes, that's what's going on here. So she drew my attention to the fact that they had done a survey of Canadians about this mask wearing thing. And 58% of them said that they're regularly wearing masks. That's it. In the States, it's up in the 70s. And it's not this whole out, like, I will stare you down and go full Karen and call the tip line to tell people.
They have that in Indianapolis. They set up a tip line, and they encourage people to take pictures and send the pictures to the Indianapolis Health Department, the Marion County Health Department.
So you take pictures of people that aren't wearing masks?
And then report them to the health department.
Do you get a reward, or this is just you get to feel good about what an asshole you are?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the reward. You get to feel good about being an asshole. That's your reward. Snitches get stitches, Tracy. That's what I say.
It's unbelievable, though. So I was looking at this, and I found a site. Let's see, it's ctvnews.ca, and they have this whole article about how YouGov, I guess, has been polling around the world to figure out who's doing what and who is happy with their government in the mask wearing situation. So if you look at, they have a whole graph that's interactive that you can play around with. So it's tracking behavior changes and tells you the percentage of the population that's wearing a mask when in public places. They've got us way down at the, I don't believe that this is true. Let me see. I'm looking at that last month. I can't even get to it. Let me change it to 3 months and see if I can find the US. All right. Now we're going up. So it's saying 73% of Americans are saying, telling these guys, YouGov, that they're wearing masks in public. Then you got Canada down there, 60-ish%. Then let's look at our friends in the UK, 36%.
Well,
Australia, 20%.
Here we go. Why isn't this being shared everywhere? I mean, I'm told Canada is the best place in the world. Our healthcare should be like Canada. And why can't we be more like Canada? And if Trump gets reelected, I'm moving to Canada. And here you look at the apparently a bunch of people from the United States need to move up to Canada to mask shame their Canadian friends, because it's that I wonder if the whole Karen phenomenon is alive and well in Canada. Like,
they don't seem to care all that much. They're kind of just like, okay, sorry, But I'm looking at to see if they've had a huge spike, right? Because apparently, if only a little bit more than half of them are agreeing to this wearing mask things, and I'm being told by people on the ground that they're not seeing it. So today's the difference between today and yesterday, as far as total deaths in the entire country, went from 8,798 to 8,810. So that would be 12 in the entire country. That's more than the state. I mean, it's a little bit more than Pennsylvania, but 8,700 deaths, or they just broke 8,800, excuse me. That's it. They're not running around wearing these masks.
But it's because our healthcare system is so much better than ours, Tracy.
Oh, of course. That makes all the difference. That stops you from getting it. Just the fact that that's there in the background. Let's not talk about how Singapore has incredibly good healthcare. And I don't know where they are. 92% of Singapore people are wearing masks. Deaths are.
The deaths are lower in Canada because they get the real medicine up there.
Oh, right. How do you explain Spain and France and Italy?
They get
Oh, I love it. But Denmark, only 3% of the people are wearing masks. I'm like, I want to go. I want to go up there. Sweden is at 4%. Norway's at 5%.
So
And
you're walking
Finland is
around in
at 6.
Denmark with a mask. They look at you probably like you're a circus freak.
Or
Like,
they're like, oh, you must be gravely ill.
yeah,
You must have 6 or 7 comorbidities that you're this worried about it.
we're going to have 10-year-old kids reporting to school in September wearing masks all day long. And then in Denmark, you only have 3% of the population who goes out on the streets wearing masks. That's where we are in 2020, and being forced to eat at back alley restaurants.
Yes. Or being forced to eat while you drink just to ward off the virus. I mean, honestly, do these people give it, like, is anybody sitting in these rooms where they come up with these rules and saying, wait a minute?
No, you know why? I would love to. It's impossible to get the numbers nation to nation, but I would love to see the percentage of people who are completely governed by their emotion.
Well, it's all of us, really.
That's true. Thanks, Karen. Everybody's channeling their inner Karen when it comes. There's no thought behind any of this. Everyone's emotionally tied to things like the masks, and now, sending kids to school. People seem to be very, very upset about sending kids back to school.
Of course.
And I for one, being a father of 2, think they should go back to school right now. Can we figure out a way? We're recording this on July 15th. Can we send them to school now? Good God.
You've had enough?
Well, it's not just that I've had enough. I love my kids. I'm joking around, but they aren't learning shit at home. They just aren't, because you're not giving them, and they aren't being homeschooled. There's a difference between being homeschooled and this remote learning, this e-learning, because you still have a teacher teaching, again with my air quotes, very good for podcasting. A bunch of teachers and school systems around the country that aren't trained, aren't set up for remote learning like this e-learning. All of a sudden, it was just, okay, we're not prepared for this, but let's see. This time next week, we're rolling out. Just did a little Guy Fieri there. So here you've got a bunch of teachers doing the best that they can. They were dealt a shitty hand, but the kids aren't learning jack shit staying at home. Okay, it's one thing if you've got a high schooler, a junior in high school, a senior in high school. They've got the maturity. You would hope to be able to say, okay, here's my homework. I'm this close to being in college, and this is what they do in college. I will figure out a way to do e-learning. But what the hell is an elementary school kid going to learn from e-learning? Next to nothing.
Well, and you're also assuming that everybody has access to a laptop for their kids or a tablet for their kid.
Right.
That's not necessarily true. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm trying to find this article that I read in Reason where they went through, and I think they said only 1/3 of all teachers actually did the virtual learning stuff.
Yeah.
And did you get a property tax cut?
Of course not.
And they're asking for billions more to reopen the schools. It's like, can we have a serious conversation about this? Because I was looking into maybe what would it take to open up a school? And I think going through and doing a charter school is a giant pain in the ass. So like maybe there's a loophole, right? Maybe you just get a bunch of parents to file all the paperwork, which is insane, to get their kid allowed to be schooled by them instead.
Right.
And they still have to take the standardized tests and all that bull crap. But you have to jump through hoops to do that. I'm like, well, if you got a bunch of parents to do that, could you then just create a place where those kids could go and you could teach them instead? And I don't think it would be difficult to get local business owners in on funding something like that, because you want a well-trained workforce that's coming up. Hey,
right.
There's an incentive here. Well, it's almost impossible to get around all this. But I started thinking about it, and I'm like, they could incentivize people, say retired teachers or retired professors or just stay-at-home moms or whatever, to go work as a teacher for homeschoolers by giving them a break on their property tax. But like if you go put in a couple hours a week or whatever it is, we'll set it. Then you get this kind of a discount on your property tax.
But why do you hate public education, Tracy?
It sucks fingers. There's nothing educational about it.
Well, and that's the thing, that the teachers union would go absolutely batshit crazy if something like that happened. And if you are a teacher who would participate in such a system, my God, putting a dagger in the back of every teacher that came before you, and you're sabotaging the public school system by daring to do something like educate kids in a way that doesn't have the government's tentacles in it. And even then it does, because like you said, you have to jump through all these hoops. You got to make sure that your child is able to pass tests based on the curriculum that the school district comes up with, and that's shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about this with Kurt last week on the show. And we talked about this on several occasions, Tracy. You should be able to graduate from high school with basic life skills. And
yes.
that doesn't happen. Listen, as someone who has, I think I've gone through 4 mortgages at this point.
Okay.
Applying for a mortgage, that should be taught in high school. It's not. And believe me, you really want to be prepared going into that whole process when you are signing a paper saying you owe $200,000 to someone. You should probably be a little bit prepared going in.
You think? And how about student loans?
How many people have you met over the years who have signed the papers for student loans, not really knowing what they're getting into?
I don't personally know anybody, but
I do. I know several people who it's at the time you're like, I'm going to get an education, and oh boy, sign this. Oh, what will my payment be? Oh, okay, I'll just sign. That's down. I'll worry about that later. I don't need to worry about that now.
Sure.
I'm going to a kegger in a little bit. It's going to be great. Who cares? $250 a month for 10 years? Fair. That's no big deal. I'll worry about that when I'll be rolling in the green by then. I'll have a college degree in women's studies. And boy, I'll be raking in the cash. People will be throwing jobs at me. And then they get into the real world and like, oh shit, what the hell did I do? $250 a month for 10. Oh God, I'll file for bankruptcy. Oh shit, if I file for bankruptcy, that doesn't matter. I'm still gonna have to pay these goddamn loans off. You think you would learn about that in high school? Nope.
No.
Education. The public education system is scam pack. It's the original scam pack.
You are correct. We should sue them for infringing on our trademark.
Yes. No, I've met plenty of people who have gotten a degree in something that they thought, you're making this decision when you're 18. Oh, you know what? I want an anthropology degree.
Okay.
And your parents are going, no, don't do that. Screw you, Mom and Dad. I'm an adult and I want my anthropology degree. And I don't care if it's going to cost me $60,000. I'm signing this loan paper, and screw you, I'm an adult. And then screw you, you're an adult. You're spending $60,000. You're going to be paying that off supposedly in 10 years. You can only defer it for so long before. It's like you can only fight off the Grim Reaper for so long. You can only fight off the student loan peeps for so long before you got to start making that payment. And that anthropology degree, you're not going to be rolling in the dough if you finish to begin with. You still owe the money whether you finish or not. Wow.
You might be looking at being a manager in an anthropology store. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes. Oh, good God.
But yeah, I found the Reason article
that
I was looking for. Sorry to interrupt you, but it came out on the 9th of July with the headline, "Don't force schools to reopen, but don't force families to pay for closed schools either." Amen. You know, I love that headline.
Mhm.
But I did remember correctly. They said a June 2020 report by the Center for Reinventing Public Education found that only 1 in 3 school districts required teachers to deliver instruction during the lockdown.
Okay, so
The
you
rest
know
of them were just like, oh, spring break came early this year. Or summer vacation, I guess they could say. It's unbelievable.
that's crazy. By the way, I was right. July 20th on Walmart and masks in San Antonio.
Okay, great. Remember, everybody, you cannot get COVID-19 at a Walmart until July the 20th.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a friend of mine, April D. Gregory. You know April. She had a great point on a social media post. The people screaming that the schools need to be closed. I mean, most of the people she's seeing, these are middle class, upper middle class white women, nothing more privileged than sitting back, demanding that all schools can be closed because you're in a financial situation where you can handle your kid being at home. There are plenty of people who cannot, and I hate that we have a mentality in this country that our public school system is daycare for a lot of people, but that's what it's turned into. That's the system we have versus the system that I want. So it is very easy for people to sit back in suburbia thinking, well, what? It's so nice having our kids here and I want to keep them safe and we can afford it. They should keep the schools closed forever.
Okay.
We'll never open them up. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I'm very torn by the whole thing because I have kids. I don't think they're learning anything, so I want them back in school. But then again, it's like, oh, wow, I'm throwing them back in government school system.
Right.
Why am I really all that anxious to have them go back and not be able to know anything about filling out paperwork for a mortgage or student loans? But they'll know all about social justice. Thank God for that.
I know. It's like they can both read, right? And they know
Yes.
how to surf the internet. Say,
Yes.
hey, did you know you can make $1 million a year being an Amazon affiliate? By the way, if you're going Amazon shopping, stop by our site first and go through our link. We'd greatly appreciate it. But honestly, turn your teenager into a millionaire. Be like, figure out this whole Amazon thing.
Yeah.
You know? You don't have to go to college if you figure it out. If you can make $1 million, the same thing that Eric Finman's parents told him, and he became a Bitcoin billionaire before he was 18. Hey, if you can make $1 million before you're 18, you don't have to go to college. You can write your own ticket. So figure it out, kids. But this is insane.
If I had it to do all over again, and it would have been a struggle because, you know, people just don't respect you at 19 years old. But my senior year of high school, I would have crammed to learn everything I could learn about real estate to get my real estate license when I was like 18, 19 years old. I mean, you may be very suspicious or you may dismiss a real estate agent that looks like he just started shaving 3 weeks ago, but you would think over a period of time, while other people are accumulating $30,000-$40,000 in student loan debt, by the time you're 20, 21, you could be making a decent living selling real estate. And by the time you're 25, you could be making a killing if you were good at it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I would do if I had to do it all over again. I've got friends who have kids that are talking about getting into the trades. You know, I want to be a welder. And while that's great, because you make a lot of money at a very young age, you're kind of capped out, you know, you're ahead of the game, but then you got to make a jump to owning a business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you do. Set up franchises and build out and out. Well, I think I've told you before, I know a Land Rover mechanic in town. He has 3 houses.
Of course. If you're a Land Rover mechanic, you're very busy.
Exactly.
I mean, they're a very nice vehicle, but Jesus Christ, I mean, they're terrible as far as reliability goes.
I know, which I find insulting. If I'm going to spend a ton of money on a car, I just want it to work.
Yeah. That's
You
not too
know,
much
it's
to
just,
ask.
no, it's like a kick in the head every time something breaks.
It should run better than a Pontiac.
Yeah, and be less expensive to maintain. My God. But yeah, further along in this article, Fingers, they said that the American Federation of Teachers claims that the government-run schools across the country need over $116 billion to reopen safely. Yeah. To put it in perspective, they say that's about twice the total amount the federal government allocated towards K through 12 education in the most recent school year.
See,
It's close to the amount that we spent during the Marshall Plan rebuilding Europe after World War II. This is to buy some Lysol?
Yeah, we had this big budget surge after the Great Recession. This is what's going to happen with this COVID-19, where we are going to have a huge surge in federal spending in education, and it will be sold to the American people as, well, this is only temporary. Nothing is ever temporary. It will be a permanent fixture of the budget. Whatever we decide we're going to do, well, I shouldn't say we, whatever they decide they're going to do in Washington, it's not going to be a 1-year deal, because then you're going to have a group of people that, if they try to bring the numbers back down, the people who want to bring the education spending back down to where it was pre-COVID will be demonized. People will say, oh, why do you hate public education? We need to be investing in our children. Why do you not want to invest in our children, Tracy L. Connors? They're our future, don't you know?
Thanks, Whitney.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ, it never ends.
No, there's yet another reason to get money. And it says schools already got 13 billed. Just.
Yeah, make it rain.
Pretty much.
And think how awful this would be if the Democrats would have been smart. If the Democrats wouldn't have been governed by their emotions in 2016 and not made Trump literally Hitler. If they wouldn't have made Trump literally Hitler, if he wouldn't have been a Nazi white supremacist, if they would have put their big boy and big girl pants on and said, look, didn't want this guy, but we're going to work with him to try to better America. And they started, Chuck Schumer would have been his best friend. You're going to tell me he didn't know Chuck Schumer? They're both from freaking New York. Nancy Pelosi walks in. She's got a permanent smile on her face because she can't move it. And she would, oh, Mr. President, let's try to work together. Democrats could have gotten a whole bunch of crazy shit crammed through, because after I know the Republicans owned the Congress for the first 2 years of the Trump presidency, but for Christ's sake, Trump had no loyalty to Mitch McConnell. If he would have been like, I'm trying to work with these Democrats and Mitch McConnell's in the way, he probably would have gotten a lot of crazy ass shit through those first 2 years if the Democrats would have not had a huge temper tantrum and said he was literally Hitler. Literally Hitler. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I agree with you. They can't see beyond that. They have complete tunnel vision.
And they're going to lose again.
Yeah, probably.
It's amazing to me. It is amazing to me. I mean, look, I've said it over and over again. These people make me sound like the biggest Trumper on the planet. And I don't particularly care for the guy, but compared to their behavior, he's the second coming of Ronald Reagan as far as I'm concerned. You get on Andy No. Well, how do you spell it? NGO?
Correct.
Reporter doing a great job following what's going on in Portland every night. Portland is on fire every single night, and the mayor's just like,
yeah. And isn't it funny? The mainstream news is not covering this stuff anymore. It's pivoted right back to people are getting whiplash. Normies are getting woke over this stuff, guys. You need to stop doing it unless you want Trump to win again.
That's exactly right. And that's how you can tell that there is internal polling that's saying that the American people are concerned about law and order. And when they see major cities on fire day after day after day, they can hide Portland, okay? They've been hiding Portland for years. Portland has been a
Yeah.
shit show, an
It's a
absolute shit show.
it's a
And you
crazy,
used to
insane
live
place.
there.
Yes.
It's a
And
beautiful
the reason I
place.
loved it, it's a wonderful city. It's great. But the people there are nuts. It's the most lefty place. I lived in Venezuela, and I think that Portland is more left than Venezuela. I'm serious. Like the people, the normal everyday people there weren't like, yay, yay, smash the system. They were kind of, it was early Chavez years, and they thought he was wonderful and he's going to take care of them. Okay.
Yeah.
But they weren't out smashing stuff. I mean, they would do general strikes when they raised the rate of the buses. And I can't do the exchange rate in my head because it was so crazy. But say, I think it was 660 believe race equals $1. So it's hard to keep up. But imagine riding the bus was 100. So it's basically a sixth of a dollar. So whatever you want to call that, 17 cents.
Yeah.
They raised it 10. So it was 110. So it's not even a penny. There were there was a college in the town where I lived, and the kids went striking. And their version of a strike, they like to take their clothes off and paint themselves in different colors. So it's like naked, Blue Man Group, but in protest form, because they raised the bus rate 10 cents. Not even the equivalent of an American penny.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why this is fun. I feel bad that you're this poor. Like, that really sucks. And I remember I would get money out of an ATM, and you'd get a 40,000 note, right? So I'm like, it's about $30. I would go to a place and try to pay with it, and they're like, we don't have change for that. And it's like walking in with a $500 bill. Like, what? We don't, like, holy crap, everybody is so poor. Like, I get this. Yeah. Portland is not that. No.
Yeah, you're just you're just strolling in like you're Bill Gates throwing around money.
Well, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this is what the ATM gives me.
Yeah.
Okay, how much do I have to spend that you can make the change? Because to me, this is monopoly money. You know?
No, but you're right. They had to make the quick pivot away from this, because this is what's going to happen in November, and this is why I think Trump is going to win. You don't forget this shit. There are still portions of Minneapolis that look like Fallujah. And apparently the Democrats seem to have a party platform that's just break shit, burn shit, destroy shit. That's our platform.
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck in November with that. I wouldn't be surprised. The only way that, listen, at this point, I think there's a really good possibility that Trump flips Minnesota. And the only way that doesn't happen is if, the GOP never underestimate the ability of the GOP to screw something up and to just suck in general. It'll be interesting to see how people in Minnesota react to if the federal government doesn't step in and throw a bunch of cash to fix everything that got broke.
Well, I thought Trump just said he's not doing that.
He did. So how does how do voters in Minnesota react? Do they say, well, we need to throw out our local officials, or we're just going to blame Trump? They made law enforcement stand down and let this shit happen. Don't call in the National Guard until it's too late. That one business we were talking about a month ago that I believe they made medical device mannequins, if I remember correctly. They had a plant in downtown or close to downtown Minneapolis, and they were like, screw this shit. Our plant was burning to the ground, and there was a fire engine like a block away, and they were just watching it burn, and the city did absolutely nothing. Why should we stay here? So who knows how the voters are going to react, if they're going to be like, well, hey, Trump sucks, screw him, we should get money to rebuild, or they're going to be like, look at these business owners that left because our mayor is a complete panty waste, he's incompetent, the governor sucks. We're going to kick these people out. Maybe there will be a great awakening. When I keep hearing about systemic racism and the system is rigged and the system has been run by Democrats for 40 years, maybe there will be this epiphany where people will say, well, geez, maybe we shouldn't be voting for the same people who have been running the system for all these years. Or maybe they'll just be like, oh, we just need a new person from that party to run it.
I mean, it's worked thus far for them. I don't know how they get away with it.
I don't either.
But this is how insane it's gotten. So this article's from a couple days ago. New York Post. City Hall protesters attack New York Post reporter as cops do nothing. It's like, ooh, doesn't that suck? So apparently there's a protest that's still going on in New York City. So this article begins in Occupy City Hall. So that's what they've called it. Protester smacked, which is a word that you don't really read all that often. I was like, oh, smacked. That's fun. An on-duty Post reporter in the face with a 2x4. That's not a smack.
No.
Because when I say smack, like I think, maybe close hand.
Yeah.
Okay, on Sunday, in view of dozens of NYPD cops who didn't lift a finger to help and even refused to take a complaint of the crime. And I read this and I think, do I feel bad? I mean, the New York Post isn't garbage like the New York Times, but I have a hard time with this one. So if you read a little bit further, it sounds like the guy didn't actually make contact with him. He smacked his phone out of his hand. So maybe that's why you use the smack. But swinging a 2x4, and I just picture a bunch of cops standing there with their hands on their hips.
Yeah.
Just looking right through them, just long gaze. What do you want us to do?
Listen, I don't blame the police.
No.
You've gotta have faith that the people above you have your back. And why the hell would any police officer think that elected officials in New York City have their back? You'd be out of your mind to think that. And they were probably given the order to stand down and just watch all the shit happen. And I mean, the stuff that goes on in Portland, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but it's amazing. Andy he will post daily the mugshots of people who are being arrested. And if they're being arrested, because they got federal law enforcement up there now, and that's a whole different matter altogether when the feds are involved. The other day, a guy was arrested. He hit a federal law enforcement officer in the head with a hammer, and it didn't end well for the hammer swinger. But
you don't say.
Right. But if one of these rioters happens to get arrested by Portland police, it's amazing. I mean, here's the mugshot. Here's what he's charged with, or she's charged with.
Or they.
Released immediately. Or they, yeah.
It is Portland.
You're right. Didn't mean to misgender someone. But they'll say underneath, released immediately. Released immediately. Released immediately. So you go in, you probably say hi, probably actually become friendly with these people who you call pigs on the street. Oh, hey, Jan, how you doing? Yeah, I got a little crazy out there. Hey, but nice seeing you. How's the family? Oh, yeah, I know they're not in school right now. They probably will never be in school again. All right, see ya. See you next week. Christ. But how do you live in a town like that? But what's even worse is you move to Nashville and then you vote for the same fuckers that let all this shit happen in Portland.
I know. I think I shared with you in one of our off-air talks that interactive map. I'll see if I can find it and embed it on the show notes. That it's a daily email that I get called The Hustle, which I would encourage everybody to get. They've kind of just aggregate a bunch of different stories. A lot of it is related to new businesses, emerging technologies, that kind of stuff. And they throw in some interesting little weird random stories. But they had sent out a survey to their readers, and they have, I don't know, hundreds of thousands. So they got back, I believe, 5,000 to 6,000 responses. Like, are you moving? Yes. Where are you moving from and to? So it was like they have this little interactive map where here's Los Angeles. Where's the number one spot? Rip, Austin. And then it was like, rip, Denver, Nashville. Then we jumped to New York City. Where are they moving? Miami. No, number one, Austin. Then Miami, I think. Denver, Chicago, Austin, Nashville. And you're just like, oh my God, they're going to come and bring their bullshit. Because they do not associate the two.
Yeah, you assholes, if you move from New York City to get away from de Blasio, and then you vote for other pieces of shit who are de Blasio light, and you ruin Texas, screw you.
Beto O'Rourke is just sitting back and being like, this is great.
Yeah.
Skate parks are open, right?
Well, in Austin, in Los Angeles, they aren't. They fill them with sand.
So stupid. I don't know why they didn't fill it with water. It's a lot harder to get all the water out, right?
Yeah.
No, they're that dumb. You just drop a hose in instead of getting a whole bunch of guys to come out in the big earth movers and pick up a bunch of sand.
Well,
anyway.
I wonder, then they're worried that people will swim in it. And it's not a pool and the water isn't treated.
You've never been to Los Angeles.
No, I haven't. I've heard wonderful things.
Homeless encampments there. Just like, I don't think that a dirty skate park, makeshift pool is their biggest public health threat.
Well, they don't give a shit about that either. I envision that to be the new homeless bathhouse, on the outdoor bathhouse. Well, they filled the skate park with water. Time for me to take a bath.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's a hellhole.
It's going to be really great when all this shit comes from California to Indiana. Keep out of Indianapolis. We got our own problems. Indianapolis apparently is going to paint Black Lives Matter on a major road in downtown Indy. And first of all, look, I don't give a shit. They want to paint Black Lives Matter. I don't give a shit. But can you fix a pothole?
Nope.
Is that possible? Indianapolis still is boarded up downtown. It still looks like shit. And since that's too hard, that problem's too tough to fix for city government. You know what's easy? Putting some paint on a road. By the way, I would think that if you have an important message to you, like Black Lives Matter, isn't it kind of shitty to have cars driving all over your message? I don't know. Seems kind of disrespectful to me. Having homeless people taking a big old leak in the middle of the road on Black Lives Matter messaging. There it is. Homeless people don't give a shit about your whatever you want. Wait, do you call that a mural if it's painted on the road? What do you call that? Okay, you're painting a mural on the road. It's going to say Black Lives Matter across, Okay, good for you. Meanwhile, the buildings right across the street are still boarded up from the riots, and you did nothing to stop these rioters. And your solution to bring, I guess, we're going to end racism in Indianapolis by painting on a street. Fix the goddamn buildings. Fix the goddamn roads. The public buildings, the private buildings, you're not going to be able to fix. Not your property. But for Christ's sake, too much bullshit in this town, and it's easier to take down a statue. It's easier to paint on a road than it is to fix the real problems.
You're right, but you did give me an idea.
Oh?
Because I started thinking, if potholes start forming that then screw up the road mural that says Black Lives Matter, don't you think they'll be fixed like that?
I bet you they are.
So if we just paint Black Lives Matter on every single street in this country, you'll never see a pothole again.
Yeah, let's work on that. I think Scam Pack needs
there you go. We need to start fundraising to go out, and that can be our project for the next year. We're going to paint every road. It's just, we're going to get a giant roller. and just roll that message out again and again and again and again, and therefore ensuring we will never see a pothole. Can't have a crack in that. Nope, we can't disrespect it. No, you got to fix it.
Racism.
Exactly.
Racism, potholes on the Black Lives Matter mural, and you're just going to sit there and allow that to happen, you racist. Oh, wow.
We got to figure out ways to play within these new rules.
Yeah.
We can get some wins.
It'd be nice to hang a few W's every once in a while.
Right. Especially when you can take it to the absurd lengths that they're willing to go.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea of you parking in the expectant mother parking lot and getting in a fight with some soccer mom, Karen, busybody type. Excuse me, sir. And you're like, ma'am.
Sir. Yeah.
It's ma'am.
Who are you talking to? Sir? Where do you work?
Exactly. I'm going live on Periscope. Hang on a second. This is going up on World Star Hip Hop.
Oh, wow. We're almost an hour in, Tracy. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I feel like we've solved a lot of problems here today.
I think we have too. It's nice that we're going to be hired as America's road commissioners.
I think Trump will make us a cabinet level position for us.
Road czars. Oh, yeah. This is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Road czars. Listen, I have been talking for decades about our crumbling infrastructure, Tracy, particularly our roads and bridges. If we could just paint Black Lives Matter on all of these crumbling roads and bridges, then maybe we could finally get some of this stuff fixed. If you don't want to do that, racism. That's our message in 2020. Yeah.
I'm cutting that and putting that up on Instagram. Let's spread it around. Let's make sure the president sees it.
Yes. We know people in the administration.
It's true.
I'll drop that nugget. I'll get a little email. You know, it's been 3 years. I have not offered any advice to people in the administration. Not that they would take it, because my name's Fingers Malloy. But still, how could they refuse that advice? Say that's not a good idea. Okay, racist.
No, we do.
We're on to something.
Yeah, we're
on to something. Okay, so until we are America's road commissioners, until we're America's road czars, you can find the Enough Already podcast on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts. Do us a solid if you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and maybe even write a review. Drop in the notes that you think it would be an excellent idea, Tracy and I, if we're both named road czars.
Paving the way to a better future.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, wouldn't that fit well on a bumper sticker? Make our roads great again. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn. You have no excuse. If you are an Android person, there are plenty of places where you can find the Enough Already podcast. And you could find the video version of this podcast on YouTube. And I was quite animated today.
Yeah, you really were.
You can see me waving my arms around everywhere on YouTube or BitChute. Final thoughts, Tracy?
I'm just going to keep coming up with taglines for us. And I'm like, do we cut a separate video imploring the administration to listen to us on this? I mean, I want to see somebody knock this down and tell us it's a really stupid plan. I don't see any holes.
I don't either.
We won't see any potholes.
Endless material.
It is. I can totally picture Trump saying it too.
All the while going like this.
We're going to fill all the potholes.
Yeah. Racism. All right. She's Tracy. I am Fingers. We will be back soon with an all new Enough Already.